Good morning, good morning. How is everybody? My name is Stephanie. Welcome to the Keto Mom page. We are diving into chapter 4 of Atomic Habits. So, for those of you who are brand new, post new below. For those of you who tune in every single morning, I hope your day is great. We are going through a book every single day. So we did Rain or Shine in May. We did the Miracle Morning in the beginning of June. For those of you who are doing the 30-day challenge, you're on day 4. How is it going? How are you feeling? You're in that first 10 days of maybe you don't want to get up in the morning. You're not used to not hitting your snooze button 18 times. But for those of you who do this today, I'm going to tell you something. It does help. Our daughters have volleyball practice. So we left the house by 6:30 in the morning. And I'm just going to say, if you can seriously get your mindset right and get up early, read this book. It's going to help you. I've already accomplished so much. I've gone to the grocery store. I've got stuff prepped for our day. I've got laundry started. I did the dishes. There's things that I've already done. My kids are still asleep. And you just feel like you own your day, right? And so here's my encouragement. You don't ever claim yourself to be a night owl or a morning person. You can be whatever you want, meaning you can own your day. You can own the direction that your life is going in, but you're going to have to make some tough decisions. You're going to have some discipline and consistency, and if you do it for a period of time, it will change your life. So we already went through this book. It's awesome. If you're doing it, day 4 of your challenge, keep going. Ignore my dogs. These dogs. Okay, we're going through chapter 4. There's a lot of great info in this book. And he tells a whole bunch of stories in the very beginning. But ultimately, the outcome of the stories is he says, the human brain is a prediction machine. It is continuously taking in your surroundings and analyzing the information that it comes across. So here's what this chapter is about. And I'm going to tell you a story about how I felt like, I would say in the last 6 years, between personal development, reading great books, being around great people, and having mentors, I've had a completely different shift and awareness in my life. But I didn't just fall into it. I was taught it. I was taught to be more aware. I was taught that there even was something called EQ and AQ. I was taught all of these things, which I've implemented into my life, and it's completely changed my life. And maybe you're going, I don't get it. Listen, the power of reading and listening to podcasts and being around great people and striving after better doesn't just come. It depends on what you want, and anybody can have it, right? But you've got to do the work. If you want fat loss, you've got to do the work. If you want to have more wisdom, you've got to do the work. If you want better relationships, you've got to do the work. If you want to be financially free, you've got to do the work. And the work just simply is this. How do you look at life? How do you handle circumstances and situations? How do you handle challenges? What are the words that are coming out of your mouth? And it all starts with awareness. Are you even aware of the things that you're doing? So in this book, he's talking about habits, good or bad. And he talks about just having an awareness of what's going on. He says, with enough awareness and practice, you will pick up. So we talked yesterday about cues. And I'm going to go through this real quick. He says there's cues that happen in your life. And if you keep doing things over and over again, they become a habit, good or bad, right? And we do things throughout our entire day unconsciously because we've done them for so many years. Simple as brushing your teeth. You don't think about it. Well, I don't know if I hope you brush your teeth. But you've done it since you've had teeth, so naturally you just get up and brush your teeth, right? And so our brain is super interesting. It's incredible, and all of the things that we do. So he says this is one of the most surprising insights about our habits. You don't need to be aware of the cues for the habits to begin. You can notice an opportunity and take action without even consciously paying attention to what you're doing. He says, notice this. As habits form, your actions come under the direction of your automatic and unconscious mind. You fall into old patterns because you realize what's happening. Unless someone points it out to you, you may not notice that you cover your mouth when you laugh, or that you apologize before you ask a question, or that you have a habit of finishing other people's sentences. And the more you repeat a pattern, the less likely you become to question anything that you're doing. I'm gonna tell you a story. I talk a lot. I am an extrovert, 100%. I love to talk. I love people. I'm fueled by people. I could be with people all day long, my family, friends, and I love to give input. I, in the past, used to think I was always right, even when I was wrong. And so there was a point in time, I'm pretty sure my husband and I were married. It was the very beginning of our marriage, and we were with his grandparents. And I remember sitting around the living room, we all were talking, and I used to have a habit of finishing people's sentences. And I was really bad at cutting people off. I did not think before I spoke. I just spoke, right or wrong. I often said dumb things, but I loved to be heard, right? It was super young and dumb. And so I didn't have an awareness of it because I did it all the time until somebody pointed it out. His grandpa looked at me one day and he said, and I don't even know if he knows this, I should remind him. He looked at me and he goes, "Do you ever just be quiet? Like, do you ever think before you say something?" And in that moment, I was like, has anybody ever said something to you and it was the truth, but it hurt? That moment shifted. I'm not saying I was perfect, but it gave me oh my goodness, no, I just talk. It gave me this newfound awareness of maybe I should be aware of what I say. Maybe I should let people finish their sentence before I add in what I want to say. Maybe I should actually listen. And that's what he's talking about, is we become this cycle, like a hamster wheel, of just doing things because maybe it's convenient, it's easy, we've done it for so long. But as soon as you become aware of what you're doing, whether it's habits in your marriage, relationships, the way you speak to your kids, the way you just grab stuff off the shelf or the counter because there's a snack there, so you walk by and you grab it instinctively, the direction that you go to get to work, it's a habit, right? All of these things we do subconsciously. And if you want to change any of those things, you've got to be aware first. And sometimes people have to point it out to you. And it hurts, but that's the way that you change. He says, over time, the cues that spark your habits become so common that they're invisible. The treats on the counter, you grab those. You don't even realize it, but you just grab it because it's in your eye view and you grab it and you eat it. The remote control on the couch, you just grab it and you flip through channels, right? The phone in your pocket, you just instinctively grab it. Our responses to these cues are so deeply encoded that it may feel the urge to act upon them no matter what. It doesn't matter where you're at. For this reason, we must begin the process of behavior change with awareness. If you want to change the way that you look, if you want to change the way that you feel, if you want to change the way that you eat, you're going to have to make an awareness of your entire day, how often that you eat. If you're bored, how you walk to the refrigerator, how you walk into the employee lounge because you don't know what to do. You walk by it and you automatically walk in, right? You smell the donut, you go get it. You walk by the donut shop and you walk in. All of these like unconscious, invisible cues, if you want a result, you're going to have to change the habit. You're going to have to. It's going to make you have to have the awareness. You might have to write it down. You're going to have to go a different direction to ultimately change the pattern. Here's what I posted in the header of this video. Until you make the unconscious conscious, until you make the habit you've been doing it for years, aware of the habit conscious, it will direct your life. And some may call it fate. Isn't it funny how we have 100% a choice every day? We make choices, right? And some people would say, if they watch other people's life, oh, they're lucky. Oh, it's fate. Oh, this always happens to me. But in reality, 98% of things that are happening to you is by choice. It's the choices that you've made. It's the habits you've created. It's not fate. It's not luck. I believe in blessings. I believe in gifts. I believe in lots of other things, but a lot of the things that ultimately depict your life are going to be the choices that you make. If you don't have an awareness around them, it's not fate. It's the choices and the habits you created. If you don't like this, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said sorry. I'm not sorry. All right. Sorry. I don't mean to be, I hope like some people don't take this as like, oh, she's crabby or yelling at me. But honestly, the things that have changed in the last 6 years of our life, it took some hard conversations. It took people pointing things out in my life to make me have an awareness to actually change. Okay, the more automatic a behavior becomes, the less likely we are to consciously think about it. And when we've done something 1,000 times before, we begin to overlook them. Many of our failures in performance are largely attributed to the lack of self-awareness, right? Fat loss, how you feel, not going to the gym, grabbing the bag of chips, grabbing the cookie, not doing your workout, sleeping in, not reading your book. They're choices, right? To create okay, so this is what he's going to have you do. He says, I want you to make a list of what you do every single day. And he's going to have you rate them. Is it helping or hurting? He goes, I want you to make a list of things that you do every single day that you do subconsciously. He gives you an example. Wake up. You turn off your alarm. You check your phone. You go to the bathroom. You weigh yourself. You take a shower. You brush your teeth. You floss your teeth. You put on deodorant. You hang up your dry towel. You get dressed. You make a cup of coffee. All of those things, he goes, and he also says this. Once you have a full list of what you do throughout the day, there's good habits and bad habits. He actually says, I really want you to think of habits as neutral, right? And I'm sorry. There's good habits, bad habits, and neutral habits. Good morning. So he says, then what I want you to do, this is what he did. Can you see that? He takes the habits and he gives them a positive or a negative sign. This is super important, this part. Is this making sense? Are you guys reading the book with me? If you don't have the book, you should get the book. And just keep it on your table to remind yourself, what do you want in life, right? So he says, I want you to make a list. He goes, and technically he said, there are really no habits, no good or bad habits. There are only effective habits, and an effective habit solves problems, okay? So all of these habits will serve you in some way. They're going to affect your life in a positive way or a negative way. He says, I want you to put a plus sign for positive habits. I want you to put a negative sign for habits that don't serve you. He says, sometimes people might look at like smoking a cigarette. That reduces stress. That's a positive habit, somebody would say. But in the long term, it will not help your health. It is not a habit that's going to serve you. You might feel like it is, but it does not serve you long term. They're sleeping. Or volleyball. They're volleyball. Does this behavior help you become a type of person that you wish to become? So he said, if you look at those lists of habits, then ask yourself, positive or negative, and does this behavior help me to become the person I want to become? Does this habit cast a vote for me, for my identity? Remember, we talked about becoming the person you want to become, your identity. We talked about that earlier. I don't want to run. I am a runner. I don't want to be healthy and fit. I am healthy. And if you take that up upon yourself and you own the identity, then you can go, does this help me become the person I want to become? Does that donut every morning when I grab my coffee, when I go through the drive-thru, help me become a healthier person? Does me hitting the snooze button and not going to the gym serve me? I know it seems like, oh yeah, I totally get it, but here's the deal. You've got to put it into action. You might have to physically get out a piece of paper and write down the things that you find yourself doing out of habit to be aware, to figure out the plus or negative, to take action, to make the pivot, to switch the habit, and then you're going to have to do it for consistency, at least 30 days, to get it into your subconscious so that you don't do those things anymore. All right, the goal is to simply notice what is actually going on, right? To make the observation. So lastly, he says, if you eat a chocolate bar every single morning, I need you to acknowledge it, almost as if you were watching somebody else do it. Oh, how interesting that would be to do such a thing. If you were a binge eater, simply notice what you were doing, what you were eating, the calories that you're intaking. If you waste time online, notice what you were doing, spending time, wasting your time. So he says, first of all, it's going to be noticing it, right? The first step is to change a bad habit is to be on the lookout for them. If you feel like you need extra help, ask people to point it out for you. And then he says this: if you really want to cut back on your junk food or bad habits by noticing yourself grabbing another cookie, say this out loud. He says, if you find yourself grabbing a cookie, say, I'm about to eat this cookie, but I don't need it. Isn't that funny? Your words have power. What if you walked by your countertops and you were going to grab something and go, I'm not hungry. I have goals. I'm not going to eat the bag of chips. What if you walk by the employee lounge and instead of going in, you catch yourself and you go, I have goals. I'm not going to walk in the employee lounge to get that donut. Okay, everybody, look at me. I'm not walking to get the donut. He says, because hearing your bad habits spoken out loud makes the conscious seem more real. I'm not going to hit my snooze button. What if your spouse might think you're crazy? I'm not going to hit my snooze button because I have goals. I'm going to get up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have you guys ever read the 5-second rule? It's by Mel Robbins. She talks about doing things and counting backwards by 5, and you do it. It's an incredible book. Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule. Anytime you want to do something. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, walk past the donut shop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put down the bag of chips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Do it. Take the action or don't take the action. Don't do it, make the pivot. So he talks about speaking it out loud. And you might sound crazy, but who cares? Normal isn't working. We tell our kids all the time, we don't need to be normal because normal in the everyday American life is not working. I'm not even going to go down the route of what normal looks like. I hope that you can figure it out. But we don't need to sleep in. We don't need to binge watch TV in the summer. We don't need to play video games. We don't need to eat crap. We don't need to do all these things that other people are doing because we're not going to be normal. Right? And if you want to create the lifestyle change and the habits that ultimately will serve you, you're going to have to not be normal. You're going to have to make this decision to go after what you want. So ultimately, that was it. Talks about being aware of all of the choices and all of the decisions and all of the habits that you have. And then you may have to speak it out loud, have to write them down, positive or negative. Are they serving you? Are they not serving you? I love this book. I love talking about this. My goal is to help you just have an awareness of your life, because as soon as you can do that, you want to know what the easy part is? I guess it's not easy, it's simple. It's simple to take the bun off the burger. It's simple to grab water instead of a Mountain Dew. It's simple to order at a restaurant meat and veggies instead of the pasta. All of those things are simple. It's the habits and the awareness and the mindset that as soon as you get that under control, everything else will fall into place. So I hope you enjoyed that chapter. Continue to tune in. We'll do this every single morning. That's all I've got for you. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.